UCLA was interesting. I was kind of a funny deal because when I turned 17, or when I was 17, was between high school and college, and I had a really good year as a junior player. And there was a limited number of schools that could even give me a scholarship. And luckily, UCLA was one of them. And it was near home. It was still only about 60 miles away, so it was far enough to be away from home, but close enough to get back home. So it was a good situation. It was a great school. My first year was a little bit of a struggle there. And the second year I won 6 tournaments and kind of came out of it and played really well. I honestly felt like I could have a career as a professional golfer, that it was within grasp. I always had that sense of direction, but the reality is the part that I was missing, if I could realistically do it. And after having that good year in my sophomore year, I felt like it was a realistic goal. It was attainable at that point, and it turned from a dream to potentially a real thing. My first tournament was a Queen Mary, which is, for a lot of people in Southern California that turn pro, that's one of their first events. So that was my first tournament. I think I finished maybe 7th, which was great. Made a check for about $1,200, and I thought I was on top of the world. It was a lot of money. Absolutely. And then I went to Q school and miserably failed. And I missed the first stage. I went overseas and played golf, played in South Africa, and I played in Europe. And when I came back, I got my card, and 1984 was my first year on tour. It can be a lot of fun, and it can be very frustrating as well. The funny thing is, you win a tournament and everybody goes, not bad for 4 days work, but they forget about the other 51 weeks of the year where you might be struggling and you're practicing very hard. It's a hard life, but it's a very good life. It's a fun life. I wouldn't want to do anything else, but there's a lot of work in it, but the rewards are fantastic. Well, I think it's harder now. I think it's going to continually get harder because there's more people playing golf. There's more interest. The money's up, so people see it as a viable profession where they can really make a lot of money. And as a result, there's a lot more very good players. The depth of golfers now is so much more, and still the upper echelon is still the same. That hasn't increased a lot, but where guys would win tournaments by maybe 5-6 shots before, now it's by 1 or 2, and there's a lot of guys real close. So it's more competitive. It's definitely more difficult. In the off season, maybe I think about it, but and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to prepare and that type of thing. But when I'm home and I have a week off, I may go practice a couple times during the week. But for the most part, I just put it out of my mind. And that's good for me because when I go home, I want to recharge my batteries. I want to be able to get back out on tour and be fresh and ready. And if I'm thinking golf 24/7, I'm going to be fried out there very soon. It's going to be a great year. There's a lot of change coming up, with going out on the Champions Tour. I'm looking forward to that a lot, and obviously, the 2010 Ryder Cup, being captain is it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's a great honor to be captain. It's a privilege and a lot of responsibility.